Hello everyone. In regards to some of the privacy videos that I'm making, I'm going to just show you some of the browsers that everybody use, like Google Chrome, Brave, Firefox, and a few more. And we're going to go through some tests and we're going to check like how they're going to deal with these tests and how safe and secure or private they could be. So we're going to just check a few of them, and at the end of this video you will be able to check what is the most secure or private browsers. So in order to do that, we are going to use Windows Sandbox. So if you're using Windows 11, you are going to the control panel and then look for where is that programs and features, and then from here you are going to look into at the very end we have Windows Sandbox. Make sure this is enabled, and if it's not, just check it, and press OK. You will install. You have to restart your PC and you can test them. If you don't want to use Windows Sandbox, which is fine, you can just install these browsers on your computer and then test them there. There is no different if you're going to use like Windows or Mac or Linux. Browsers are, at the end of the day, are browsers, and behind the scene they're going to just follow the same thing. They just are going to be built a little bit differently to be run in a different operating system. But Google Chrome in Mac, Linux or Windows is Google Chrome regardless, and amount of data they're going to send or collect is pretty much the same thing, maybe a little bit different, maybe not. Anyway, for here we are going to have Windows Sandbox, and then in a start menu, if you search after restart, if you search for Windows Sandbox, you are going to get the Windows Sandbox. So now that Windows Sandbox is running, it's basically running a sandbox version of Windows in your operating system. You don't have to use it, but for this exercise we're gonna have that one. And for a few seconds I'm going to install a few of those browsers and I'm gonna come back. We can follow from there. Now that we have all of these well-known or mostly used browsers installed in this Windows Sandbox, we are going to check them all against some of these URLs which you see here, and I'm going to talk about some of them, and at the end we're going to choose which one is better. Depends on the privacy and the data leak that they're going to have. And also bear in mind, at the end of the video I'm also going to add a few extensions or plugins to these browsers, and we're going to make it even more safe and secure. By now all of them are just installed. There is no extensions or plugin or add-ons or added to any of these browsers. Let's open them one by one and check them together. So I'm going to bring Microsoft Edge. So actually I have them all in here. Let's open them all. The first thing that I want to test is ad blocker test. So it's adblocktester.com. You can see if you open it in a Edge, only 34 points out of 100 is being blocked. What does it mean? Basically in this page there are a lot of different types of advertisement or ads, and then by default browsers are going really to show some of them or block some of them, and then some not. You can see, for example, these stuff are here. Some of them the test failed. There are different types, but what we get from Edge is not very promising. Let's see what do we get in Firefox. So Firefox, you are going to get the same thing again, 34, pretty much the same thing, maybe a little bit different or not. I'm going to check them in Google Chrome. So close that. No, I don't want you to be default. Google Chrome, the default version seems to be a little bit better than Firefox and Edge, because it's 39 points out of 100. Obviously we need to check, for example, which one are detected, which one aren't. For example, if there are Google ads, maybe they're not detected, the test has passed, and if not, you can see again. So 39 points out of 100. Let's go to Brave. I'm going to paste that again, close this one. With the Brave, let's see what do we get. We are gonna get 96 points out of 100. So as you can see, I have not installed any extension as well. So let's go to, where is that? Extensions. There is nothing installed. I'm going to close it. So Brave, by default, it's going to pretty much, block a lot of these things, which is very good. And that's why when we're talking about, for example, a private browser versus other browsers, what do we get? I mean, at the end, it says some of these websites, you can check the blockers, but we haven't installed anything. We're going to install some of them in a few minutes, and we're going to check them again later. I'm going to go to LibreWolf. LibreWolf is behind the scene. It's using Firefox, and also when you are installing it, by default, it also installs uBlock Origin. So if I go to extensions or add-ons, you can see we have uBlock Origin. Okay, I am going to just paste it here, and voila, you are going to get 100 points out of 100. So pretty much it detects all of the ads and block all of them. There is nothing you can see here. And how about Mullvad? It's pretty much the same thing. Again, you are going to get 100 points out of 100. So again, if you check for add-ons, it has installed a few things by default. You can see there is a Mullvad Browser extension. This is what they use. They have no script, and also they have uBlock Origin installed. So by default, they have installed these things. Make sure I haven't installed anything. And also behind the scene, the engine behind this is like, Firefox. So nothing there. Let me just update this one while we're here. I'm going to refresh this one. Again, 100 out of 100. Let's open Opera. Let's test this one. With the Opera, by default, again, we got 39 points out of 100. So really, it's not doing very much, not very good. And I am also going to check it in a Tor browser. Let's paste it here. And what does it get? Okay, we're not getting anything. Let's connect to the Tor. Establishing connection. It's going to be a little bit slow because it's going to have a Tor connection. Now we have tested everything. Scroll down, we only get 39. So it's not very good in terms of the ads. But behind the scene, obviously, because this is a Tor network, so it's really going through different networks. So maybe it's more private, but in terms of advertisement or ads, it's not doing very good. As you can see, we get only 39 out of 100. Let's go and check different one. Let's start from the top. IP leak. We're going to be here in the ipleak.net. You can see it's checking my IP, which I'm connected to the VPN, and then the VPN goes to Netherlands goes to Switzerland because of Tor, and then we have IP version 4. There's a fallback for version 6, and there is no leak, which is good. And let's see what else do we have here. Accuracy radius is 20 kilometers, so it's 20 kilometers. I like that one. Behind the scene using Mozilla, and what else? I mean, there are a lot of information you can see, but what I want to check, in fact, let me just close this one. Tor address detection. Let's see. The torrent client and wait for the result. Let's refresh. Okay. I don't get anything, but it's fine. I mean, you can see there is no leak, which is good. Let's go back to Opera, and then check this one. It's going to open it. As you can see, my connection is in the United Kingdom, so this is not going to be my IP address, obviously, because I'm connected to VPN. But you can see in the Tor browser, it went to Netherlands, then went to Switzerland. It's much safer. But what you saw, for example, with ads or ad block, it didn't really do much good. You can see I don't have fallback. I'm only using IP version 4. There is IP version test. IPv6 is not available. Everything is through the UK. My DNS, all my DNS is just shared. Unfortunately, Okay, it says if you're now connected to VPN and you see your ISP IP, then your system is leaking. So that is not very good because we're using Opera. And what else? You can see my IP, you can see my ISP connected to London. What else? I mean, pretty much a lot of leaks here, a lot of data that websites can see. I'm gonna go to Mullvad. Let's just open it here. And maybe the same thing, because the problem is some of the browsers are very good with ads, some are better with the privacy, but still with the IP or tracking you down, maybe the others are not doing very good. So if I scroll down, again, you can see pretty much a lot of things, but not the rest. I'll go to LibreWolf and open this one. And these two, for example, behind the scene are using the same thing. So LibreWolf and Mullvad are pretty much the same thing. Not exactly, but pretty much the same thing. The IP addresses are the same. I am going, for example, here. Again, everything is pretty much similar. And you can see they know exactly what is my screen size, my available screen size, color depth. They can see a lot of things. And so this is what my browser are leaking outside to analytics, or those who are looking for data and making a profile about my my system, and very specifically my browser. So I'm gonna open the other one in Brave. Brave is not gonna do, to be honest, much better in my opinion. So okay, we are using here. Not much has changed. Okay, what do we see here? They see actually what meme types information can be read in my browser. The headers in my browser, they know exactly my operating system, my user agent, everything, which is not very good, but that's this much they can see. I don't think Google Chrome is going to do any better, to be honest. They're not very good. They're actually leaking everything, and that is a bit tricky. And bear in mind, I'm using VPN, so that's not going to be my IP address. A lot of things has changed, but pretty much, again, the same data. Come to the Firefox. Let's open it together. And what do we get here? Okay, not anymore, nothing very different. And how about Edge? Not very good. Okay, the only one which did much better here in this, the whole test of leaking about, the IP leak, was the Tor browser, because I was using also Tor. So I enabled Tor, and then you can see there is an IP version 4, IP version 6. My IP is not, there is no leak, and it's not available because it went through VPN, then went through the different, like 2 different countries in this case. And so it's a little bit difficult to just, track it back. Obviously, if you're using Tor, maybe it's better to not use VPN, but the whole purpose is, to see what is happening. Let's move to the next one. The other one which I want to show is amiunique.org. So this is where actually is going to test how unique is your user profile, or like browser profile, fingerprint. What it means is, so a lot of times you try to be very safe and secure, but the more you make yourself unique and you use very specific things, let's say you use an operating system that no one is using, I don't know, it's VirtualBox, and behind the scene you have VPN, you're using a very, very niche browser that no one else is using, then you make yourself very detectable. Because imagine if you're using Windows and there's no VPN and you're in London or a big city and Google Chrome, then there is a big chance that a lot of people are using the same thing, and it's much more difficult to identify you. However, there is pros and cons by using different things, which we will talk about it at the end of the video. So you can see, even with the Tor, because it knows my operating system, it knows my so Windows, 46% of people are using it. 38% using Firefox, language, and a lot of these things. So I'm not very, you know, even though I am to some degree unique, but the problem is, like, you can see a lot of these things, how unique are each of these things that, you know, each of these attributes that I use. But also at the same time, you can see some of these examples. So if I, for example, go to LibreWolf, I'm not going to open it everywhere because it's going to be pretty much the, you know, the answers I'm going to get is pretty much the same thing, but it's good to know what ratio we are going to get. Let me open it also in a Google Chrome while it's doing the test, so we're going to get some data. Okay, behind the scene, again, this is Firefox. Gonna go up. What is it doing? This website uses cookie. Let's accept it for now. Who cares? Again, are you unique? Yes, you are unique among this many fingerprint in their data set. This is a good website to check how much you are detectable. Basically, the more unique you are, the more easy to identify you in some sense. It doesn't mean they can find you, but, like, you know, if there are like 2 types of people with this fingerprint, it's much easier to find them rather than if you're like a part of I don't know, millions, or part of like even bigger group. So this is a good one also to bear in mind. How about Edge? Let's just test this one as well. Let's just accept this and see what do we get. I just learned that, you know, this Windows sandbox is just for sandbox. We shouldn't keep a lot of things there, and that's why my sandbox crashed and I had to just go through installing all of these things one more time. And also, if I just check my task manager, it only give you 4 gigabytes. Probably that's why. And my RAM is way more than this, but it just, maybe that's the issue. But let's just come back to the test and test a few more things. So what I want to test as well is just whoever.net, and let's open it here. And this is another place that it's going to show you quite a lot of things in terms of, you know, if I'm using, you know, there is an anonymizer, there is a blacklist, what is a browser, and like proxy, DNS, quite a lot of things. And if I just see, for example, let's see port scanner, and let's just close this one, scan it. Okay, we are protected. Let's open it in Opera. Let's do this one. And I don't really expect to see anything, to be honest, very different. Let's just, for example, go there. Come on, just don't show me this one every second. We are protected. How about Google Chrome? Press enter. You are seeing pretty much all these annoying ads because they're just there to annoy you, to be honest, for the rest of your life if you are going to use this kind of browsers. But let's go back. Let's use DNS queries check. We are not protected. Going back again, I'm gonna go back, DNS check. We are not protected. Let's go to LibreWolf and see what do we get here. One more time. Okay, 100% of your anonymous measurements are safe and you don't use them. Okay, well, good to know. We're not protected. How about the Tor browser? What do we get here? Are we going to get anything different? We will see. First of all, as you can see, my IP is not the same as what I was seeing in a different browsers, and my hostname also changed. ISP is different. And how about here, like port scanning? Am I going to be quite safe? Yes, I am protected. How about the DNS leak. Okay, DNS queries, you're not protected. Okay, it actually goes to a few places. That is interesting to know. How about the Mullvad? What do we get here? So I don't see much of a different here. Okay. Interesting. So some of the things that are disabled, some are enabled, but going back, let's just test one more thing as well. So we already, I think, tested everything, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just quickly check. This one, okay, browser leaks. So what kind of information are leaked in the browser through the browser? So you can see if I go to the home address, let's check, for example, for the IP address. These are the amount of data that whatever website we go, they can collect from us. So if I go to the JavaScript, for example, the JavaScript is enabled, there is inline script, quite a lot of things, and it could be scary if you, for example, care about your privacy. So let's have a look here. Let's go to the font fingerprint or canvas fingerprint, so you can see that. I am actually very curious about, let's see what is more tools. No, that's not important. You can see, for example, we are not using Tor because that's not Tor. How about if I open it here? What do we get? Okay, so there is not much of a thing. I'm gonna go to content filter. So it is Tor. There is no ad guard, there is no subscription, dark reader is not enabled. So it's quite different things you're gonna get. And if you go, for example, to Google Chrome, you are going to get, again, quite different things. So I'm gonna go to IP addresses. Again, this much of a data, a browser leak to outside, and that sometimes could be scary if you care so much about your privacy. I'm also going to check one more thing as a last thing, which is going to be privacytest.org. We can open it anywhere. It's not going to be like a test or test, but it is a comparison from different browsers. But here, if you look out of all of these browsers, you can see if you're talking about desktop, we also have iOS, we have Android, they have different things. And also we have the private mode or incognito mode. You can see we have incognito, or a different browser we have private. And if you check, these are the tests that they have done, and like the browsers has passed or they failed on these tests. And if you check them, out of all of these things, Brave is doing very good. LibreWolf and Mullvad are doing very good. Tor is doing very good. The rest of them, honestly, they're not doing very good. Chrome is one of on the very bottom of the table. As you can see, for example, we come in here, there's a fingerprint resistant test, and you can see, for example, Brave is doing very good, LibreWolf is doing very good, Mullvad is doing very good, Firefox on its own is not good, Edge very bad, DuckDuckGo, Google Chrome, I don't know, Opera, Safari, you know, just leave them alone, to be honest, and let them just be there. The tracking query parameter, they're not really doing good. They're actually doing very bad. And you can see, for example, there's a DNS privacy test. Mullvad is the one doing very good. I'm not sure if they're using like their VPN, because Mullvad is providing VPN as well, but I don't know if this test is with that or not. But we saw a lot of these things when we were checking, you know, the different browsers, and you saw when we were going to this website, we're going to get different things. This is how you can see what browser is actually better. But let me just tell you a few things. When it comes to the privacy, in my opinion, again, there are like definitely more into it, but in a very simple term, you should use different browsers. It's not only sticking to one browser. If you're connected to Google account, for example, then keep that browser for whatever is related to Google. If you want to do some shopping, or if you want to do different social media, it is, in my opinion, it's recommended to have different browsers. But at the same time, for example, I'm using Brave, I'm using LibreWolf and Mullvad, definitely these three. And sometimes I'm using Firefox as well for only specific things. For example, for my Google stuff, if I'm using YouTube, but nothing else. And that's how you can have more privacy. For example, the cookies between these websites and browsers are going to be isolated, in my opinion, and it's going to give you more sense of privacy. So in my opinion, it's good to mix and match, and also good to change them. If you are using Brave, you can sync all your history, bookmarks, and everything. It's pretty much same as Google Chrome, and it's going to give you a lot of good things. And let me also show you how you can get like much better result if you are using, for example, something like Firefox or LibreWolf, Mullvad. You're going to get like a lot better if you change some of the security settings. Let's open, for example, I'm going to close all of them pretty much. What is this one? Tor. Okay, I don't need it. Let's keep the Mullvad. And what was the test we were doing? So it's ad block test. I'm going to open it here, close this one and close this one. You can see with the Mullvad, we got 100 points out of 100. So if you don't really care about, if you don't want to see a lot of advertisement, it's because of they are using these the plugin, which is uBlock Origin. This is a very good one. But also what I want to do is to, let me see if I can get more plugins. Firefox add-ons and plugins. Let's just quickly do a search and get to the extensions. So if you go to the extensions, make sure you only install one ad blocker. If you install a few, it's not going to really help, because they're going to, very likely, they're going to mix a lot of concerns. If you use one, stick with that. And uBlock Origin seems to be one of the best that I've tested. Privacy Badger is a very good one, but let me open the privacy one, privacy and security one. So this is going to be a very good one. Privacy Badger, it's very good as well. So it's going to remove and block the trackers. AdGuard is doing a very good job. For the ad blocker for YouTube, I don't know. There are like, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Specifically recently, they're not working very well. I wouldn't really go and install pretty much a lot of things, because it's gonna make your browser quite slow, and then you're gonna have different experience when you are checking the websites. But if you install uBlock Origin on any browser that you use, even if it's Firefox, so let's just actually open this one. And I'm going to copy this. Let me actually, okay, let's go there. And let's open this one as well. And okay, just copy it, basically, paste and go. So close this one. We don't need this. What do we get? We get 34 out of 100. Let's install uBlock Origin. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate this one. This time it's 100 points out of 100, so it has blocked pretty much everything. You can see we get 100 out of 100. So by adding only one add-ons, you are gonna get a lot better outcomes in terms of just advertisement or ads. But then privacy is a different thing. So what is this browser is leaking is different than other browsers, or what information behind the scene it's sending to Mozilla or to the different search engines or whatever website we are opening is completely different. But when it comes to the ad, for example, you can have that. But then if you go to settings and then look at the privacy, there are a lot of things that you can change, and then it will be much better and much easier really to check the privacy. For example, I don't want to send anything to Firefox at all. And what else? Okay, I'll keep these ones. I'm not going to be very crazy with this. You can go like, you know, max protection with the DNS over HTTPS, but then you might like not have an access on some of the websites. For example, if you are using like a password manager, so let's ignore that one, ignore this one. There are a lot of things that, you know, you can just change here, which if you want, I can just create a video and we can just have a chat and talk about all of these different settings. However, coming back to the conclusion, I would go with a Brave, Mullvad or LibreWolf and keep the rest, you know, for themselves. I'm not going to use them mostly, or 80% of the time I'm not going to use them. Google Chrome, Edge, Safari, Opera, they are not going to be good at all and I'm not using them, but there are different browsers which I mentioned and they're doing a very good job. But at this point, hopefully you get some ideas about different browsers and how you can achieve like a different level of privacy or freedom in terms of when you're going to browse you know, websites and content on the internet. Thank you so much for watching this video and I'm going to see you in the next one.